As you probably know, in this day, HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided for us what will happen and during all the coming year. But when we think about it, it's difficult not to pay attention that something not fair happened in this conception, that Hashem judge us and decide for us all kinds of things, and we are victims in His hands. What we can do? He decides for us all kind of terrible things. What happened? What will happen to us? Usually we don't think about that. We not pay attention for that. But if you understand mistakenly the idea of Rosh Hashanah, it's something very bad. It's something terrible. It look like in some way like idolatry. Like you probably know that among idols that worshipped idols, they had this conception that God or gods, they decided what happened to you, and nothing can save you if God decided. Determinism. It's determinism, it calls. For example, it's famous example that you probably noticed, you remember that there is idea of in ancient ancient Greece, they had this conception that God judged you and decided what happened to you, and nothing can stop that. You cannot avoid what destiny decided for you, like fate. It's your fate. And you probably know that in Greeks and Roman pantheon and idolatry, they describe the fate like blind woman. You've heard about that blind fate, like this expression, blind fate. Why blind? Why blind? Because she has like something in her eyes, and she doesn't know why this fate, this woman, why she decided, this God, why she decided for this person that he'll be good or bad or all kind of things like this. And the bright example for that, it's Oedipus. Oedip. You probably have heard this. There is in psychology, Freud says that Oedipus complex. What does it mean, Oedipus complex? What is the meaning of this idea, Oedipus complex? Freud says that Oedip complex, it means that everybody, every normal person, want to kill his father, yes, and get married with his mother. You never heard about Oedip complexes? I'm so glad. I'm so glad for you that you were innocent. Yes, this is one of the major and the main conception in psychology.
But why do you believe that?
That's what he says, that when he analyzed your soul or your like association and your subconscious, he come to this conclusion. Yeah.
That means he's crazy.
Yes, I agree with you. I don't think so. I think that,
he's crazy.
yeah, but you should know that that is today its main like basis conception of all psychology. There are different stream in psychology, and they sometimes people doesn't agree with him, but so they argued about that, like how it works, but it's basis concept. So where he come to this, what it's called in this name, he based on a story that, like a play that wrote by Sophocles in ancient Greek, it was about 2,500 years ago, that he wrote a play that calls King Oedipus, King. And in this play, he tells about some king that he had a child, where his wife queen give birth to some child, and prophet came to this king, and he says, you know, this child, he will kill you, and he will get married with your wife, with his mother, and his brothers, they will be his children. His children will be his brothers. So this king decided to get rid of this child, and he gave him to some soldier and said, "Go and kill him." And this soldier had some mercy for this child, so he decided not to kill him, and he saw some shepherd, you say shepherd. And some old shepherd, he asked him, where you go? He says, I go in the end of the land, in the end of the place. He says, maybe you can take this child with you. He said, okay, why not? He'll help me to grow. Okay, so he took him. He went in the very far country, and this far country, there were also some king of this country and queen. They saw old guy with small child, so they asked, who is it? He explained them. They said, maybe you can sell sell him to us. They didn't have children. He says, of course. He sold him. They took this child and they grow him up as their son. And when he grew up, another prophet came to him and he says, you know, you will kill your father and you will get married with your mother, and your children, they will be your brothers, and your brothers will be your children. And so this his name was Oedip, and he decided to prevent this fate, this destiny. So he decided to run away from his home as far he can, and he went back to where he was born. And he saw some people that he thought that they are robbers, but it was a king in hunting. So he thought that king want to do something. He didn't know that it's king. He hit him and killed him immediately. And then he came to this town that he was born. And this town has all kinds of problems. Some monsters were there, wanted to all kind of, and sphinx. And he relieved this saved this town from those monsters. So they said, maybe you can be our king. He says, yes, why not? I'm ready to be king. I was a prince. Wonderful. But in order to be king, we have here queen. You have to get married here before you became a king. She's a little bit older than you, but that's not so important. He says, yes, of course, why not? In order to be king, why shouldn't I will marry older woman? He get married here. They have children, and then prophet came and he says, you see, your children, they are your brothers and sisters, your sisters and brothers, they are your children, and your mother is whatever. Then he said, oh, it's terrible, terrible, it's terrible world, it's impossible to live in this world, and he blind himself. That's end of the story. So that idea of idolatry, that what God decided to you, God or God's fate decided for you, that's it. You will never be able to prevent that, to stop that. And that is opposite of Judaism. We don't believe in such bad ideas. Why those ideas are bad? Because a lot of people live in some conception that God He decided for me, and that's it. And that's what will happen. It does make a difference if I will work and if I won't work. Hashem gave me some money on Rosh Hashanah, and that amount of money I will have, even if I will work, if I won't work, it don't depend on me. It depends on Hashem. That conception is not Jewish. You should know. We are influenced by those kind of ideas, but it's not true. And today you cannot do that because you don't know Hebrew enough well, but you should. But you should know when you grow up. Do you speak Hebrew fluently? Always try to find the sources. Doesn't make a difference who tell you something, even if it's some guy that he think that he's scholar, or that he's clever, or he has big beard, or he had big hat, or black jacket. It doesn't say that it is Judaism. As there is joke among people that they learn Torah, they say hat is not it's not evident, and the beard, the goat also has beard.
Yeah.
It's we learn from from Gemara, from Agra, from Rambam, from Halacha, from Shulchan Aruch. We learn from our sources, not what somebody says. And if you check clearly, if you you look for, you will see in Judaism we have no sources that Hakadosh Baruch Hu decides something for you and that it. Nothing will happen. That one of the difference between Jews and Muslims. In Muslims, they say a lot these kind of things. And you probably know, I don't know if you know, but you probably know that in Israel, for example, they have Arab, they involved in a car accident, 52% of car accident in Israel, Arabs involved. And how many Arabs in the population of Israel? 20%. So what it says, what it teaches us, that because they have this bad conception, it's ruling ruin their life. It disturbs their life. because they don't so careful when they drive. Why? Because it's Allah. He decided what will happen to you. Why should you so be careful in driving? Because God decided for you. You can drive quickly, slowly. You can. It doesn't make a difference. God decided. Allah. He knows. And also there are people that they don't take responsibility to support their family, to bring money, to work in their family. Why? Because God decided it's not for you. You have to make some effort, just small effort. You don't have to work. You have to just to trust on Hashem, to rely on Hashem, and He will bring you a lot what you need. This is not Jewish conception. We have no sources for those kind of ideas. It's written in Chovot HaLevavot, for example, there is idea of bitachon, midata bitachon, and other places. It's written that these kind of things, they can happen rarely to very, very special kind of people in very small group of scholars. Then they give so many conditions that you will be in this group. So it won't be never connected to most majority of people. Normal people have to work in order to bring a salary to their family, and if they don't work, it's bad. But because they have those ideas that disturb their life, they took out from themselves their responsibility. And they say, Hashem will decide it. Me? No, I am not. I have to buy lottery, some ticket, you say? How is it? Lottery ticket? Lotto, yeah. Lotto, once a week. And this is my effort. That's what I have to do. But Rav Kook says, no. You have to make maximum that depend on you in order to do in everything, every field, to cure yourself, to cure your children, or to bring to do everything that depend on you. And after that, you did maximum that depend. Then you can rely on what will happen from Hashem. But you have to do as much as you can. Now, after that we understand that, and this bad idea of Greeks, and we learn that people, they have temptation to keep this conception that Hashem decided for everything. Why they have this temptation? Because in this approach, you always you not have to change. You not to have. Okay, it's not my business. It's Hashem's business. So you not have to work hard in order to reach some goal. You can stay without changing, and this is one of the things that very characterize human beings. We don't like to change ourselves. We want. There is some idea that calls homeostasis. Homeostasis. It's in biology. It's some in some apparate to say manginon in Hebrew, apparate, some system, okay, some system that makes balance in your in your body. For example, we have 37 Celsius degree, like in our heat of our body. Even if you'll be in minus 50 below the zero, we still will have 37 as long we'll live. And if you'll be plus 50, more than in heat 50, we still will have 37. So who is make this balance? It calls homeostasis. The same thing happened in our personality. We want to be balanced. We don't want to change. And in order because we don't want to change, we look for some kind of some other ideas that they will take responsibility in our life. For example, God. And that's why people comes to shul in Rosh Hashanah, or even by day, and they say to Hashem, please, Hashem, do this and that and this and that. When you apply to Hashem that Hashem will do something for you, who have to change? Hashem. You not. You just have to ask. Say, please, please. And maybe you will say, please. But still, who have to work in this world? HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You stay as you are before. And that is great temptation, not to change. To remain as you are. Remain as you are. And that you like very much. But really, idea of Rosh Hashanah, it's not forgiveness. It's not something that Hashem will work for you and will send you and will give you some good things. The main idea of Rosh Hashanah, that's that I want to change myself. It's idea of repentance, that I want to make some changes in my life. And that's why I have to work hard. I have to think about myself, to analyze who am I, where I am I in a level of my righteousness, my spirituality, my morality, all kinds of things. And when I understand, I check myself. I know that I should change something here. I should start to do something there that I didn't do that before. All the time, I have to change. And according to our level that we work, it's difficult thing to do. Because it's, I think it's one of the most difficult things that exists in the world, to change yourself. Because this homeostasis work hard, force us to stay, not to change, because we don't like to change. It's difficult. You have to remember to do something. You have to. But when you change, all your life changed. And because we believe that, contrary what idolatry says, we believe that Hashem conduct our life according what we are. He doesn't just decide, okay, you'll be thief, or you'll be righteous, you'll be chassid, you'll be good guy, you'll be that. No. Everything that happened in our life, it's suit to our spiritual level. And if you want that something will change in your life, it's the best thing to do is to change yourself, your spiritual level. And I want to give you example how you can change this level. Many years ago, I learned in yeshiva in Beit El. I learned in this yeshiva 14 years. And one of my chavruta in yeshiva, my friend, was a guy that he make tshuva. He did tshuva a year ago. Like when we met, he was a year in tshuva. And he wanted to get married, and he couldn't find, he met a lot, he meet a lot girls, and nobody suit him. He didn't like them. And we talk about that. He says, what happened? Why not? Why can I find? And we talk about that a lot. And I and my wife, we invite him to our home, and we talk to him a lot. That our main idea to him that you shouldn't look for wife by meeting those girls. It's not so effective. Why? What you should do? You should prepare yourself to marriage. You should check your character. You should check your behavior and this. And when you spiritually and in moral way, you'll be ready. You'll find here. Hashem will send, but it's always everything that happened to us. It's a result. What happened in our soul, and that's what I told him all the time. Again. Yes, of course. And I talked to him again and again about this idea, and he accepted, didn't accept it, argued with me, and it wasn't so easy. And after a few months that he learned, he left yeshiva, and he went to work in some place, and I didn't see him for half a year. After this half a year, he knocked in my door in Beit El. He came with flowers and wine, and he wanted to invite me to his wedding. You say, wonderful, it's a yofi, mitzuyan, thank you. And so I asked, so how you did find your spouse? He says, it was like this. One day, my former girlfriend called to me, and she says, I have to see you, I want to see you very urgently. He says, okay, but I cannot, she asked, come to my home and we'll talk about something very, very important. He says, no, I cannot come, it's forbidden to be in one home, one room with a strange woman. She says, okay, I'll come to you. He says, no, also. It's so what we do, we'll meet in the street. Okay. They met in some in street, and she tells him like this. She says, listen, they decided to quit only because one reason. Because he became be religious. He make tshuva, and she not. They lived together before, they love each other, they were in very good relationship, but she didn't, she wasn't religious, and he became. And only because of that, they quit. And she says, listen, and they didn't see each other a year. Yeah, all year, he learned in yeshiva and she lived her life. She says, all this year I tried to be like you, like also to believe in God. And I went to all kind of colleges for religious women, and to seminars and lectures. I wrote book, saw all kind of films, videos. It doesn't convince me. Sorry, I don't want to lie to you. I did a lot of effort in order to be religious. And I cannot lie to myself. I don't believe in God. But I love you and I believe in you. So I decided to be a religious woman without believing in God. He says, but it's impossible. She says, no, I learn all halachot, all laws, everything that it's demand from religious woman, I will do. I'll cover my hair. I will. I know laws of kashrut. I will keep family marriage laws between men and women. I will send our children to religious school. Nobody will know that I'm not religious. But I don't want to lie to you, so I tell you secretly that I don't believe. But you, but why do you care? Why should you care? For you, it will be the same. I believe not. So let marry. We love each other. We have good relationship. Everything wonderful. So why not? Why we quit? Only because you decide to be religious. So I'll be for you. You look for a wife to get married, and I know. So I'll be your fiancé. Fiancé is in English?
Fiancé.
Yeah, fiancé. I always make mistake. Bride and groom. Groom it's woman. No, groom is husband. Okay, and bride is woman. Okay, so I'll be bride for you. And he says, listen, I understand, I appreciate very much, but I don't want any performances. I don't want that you will act as a religious woman. I don't want makes this atzagot. How to say atzagot? Performances. Player, yeah. I want normal religious family with a religious mother to my children, and I don't want. She says, but why? Why? And they talk, and she tried to convince him, and this and that. And in the end, he didn't accept this proposition. And she says, positive? You sure? Yes, I sure. This is the end. And she says, listen, you should know, all this year, I didn't have any connection with other people, with other men. And I was loyal to you, and I waited for you. But now, if you say no, I will get married with someone else. I'll fight. I cannot do. I'll start new life, and that's it. He says, yes, of course, start your new life. That's what the idea that why we quit it.
Broke.
Broke up, yeah. That's why we broke up. Yes, that's what you should do it a year ago. It's. She says, okay, so it's finally, it's yeah, yeah, okay. So she says, okay, so give me a last hug before we go. And he says that he was 29 years old, this boy. He passed army in Israel. He did all kind of guy with learning in university. He's a mature guy that passed a lot in his life. And he says, in all my life, it was the hardest thing that I did in my life. That was so difficult to say here no. All year he was alone, he didn't have any relationship with nobody, and for him it was very desirable. And he almost touched her, and he decided not to do that. And he says to her, "No, listen, it's impossible. It's forbidden." She says, "No, you didn't understand me. I mean, just a simple hug." He says, "No, I understand. I understand you." He understood that it wouldn't be a last hug. He says, "No, it's forbidden." She says, "But it's like it's not human. Just innocent hug." He says, "Yes, it's not human, it's religious." I'm already other man. I'm not. And she was furious. She went out. She was in her car, and she went there from this place. Like I turned her car, and she went out. He stand and look in these lights of this car go away more and more and more. He look and he understand that he passed exam. And he felt that something in heaven, something changed. And he went back home, and he felt himself that he was already somebody else a little bit. And 2 weeks later, he get some proposition to meet some girl, and he met her, and they like each other, and they decided to get married. And now he invite me to this wedding. And I say, wow, it's such a special story, this and that. By the way, I have a book in Hebrew that I wrote about this story. And so I was amazed, wonderful, it's so good. And he says, I see on your eyes you didn't understand the real catch. I said, yes, I didn't. So what's the catch? What's the idea? He says, you remember you keep saying me that when I will be ready, even if this girl will be in the end of the world, she'll come to me. So this girl from Australia, she came to me from other place, from the side of the globe, of the earth. That happened, but you predicted. No, yeah, predicted. And I think this is the idea of Rosh Hashanah. That's the way how we write ourselves in book of righteous people, on not righteous people or evil people. That's the idea that Hashem wrote us. It's not somebody external. It's not somebody that decide, that will happen to you. That is you deserve. This is that, and he write it down. No, each time we can change, and we can make tshuva. And what Hashem do in Rosh Hashanah, He suit to our spiritual level those events that will happen, that will help us in order to be good people. It's not somebody like a strange, some alien force that something do to you, like in Greeks idols, that it blind fate, blind destiny. It depends on us. And that's what we try to do in Rosh Hashanah, to deserve Hashem's chesed, like how to say chesed? Chesed, Hashem's good things Hashem gives us. It depends on us. And that's end of the story. Now, I want to tell you just that I have book in English, that it was book in Hebrew, that was translated in French, in Russian, and in English. So if you want to buy this book, I have here one, but if you want, I'll give you not next time. That a book called Clear Faith, the rational approach to Jewish faith. And it cost 100 shekel, and it's available in meantime. But so if you decide, tell me. שנה טובה, כתיבה וחתימה טובה.